How do you become an innovation leader at the same time you're told you have to cut your costs? A lot of board members still believe that IT is a cost center, not a strategic asset. This is causing a lot of challenges for many of you. You're being told to cut costs. You're being told that you have to reduce your spend. At the same time, the board says we want to become a digital transformation company. We want to be a cloud first. We want to be a leader in innovation. But yet you get no more money. That's the reality. The CIO average tenure is now about 3 years with a company. Why? Because it's one of the hardest roles in the world. You are being asked to determine what the technology is 10 years from now that the company is going to need or the government is going to need, and yet technology changes by the day. 3 months ago, most of you probably never heard of ChatGPT. Oh, you knew about AI, but you didn't really understand some of this new technology. Now your board is asking you, oh, what are we doing with ChatGPT? That's how fast things change. But yet you have to think 10, 15 years out. What are the technologies going to be? It's almost an impossible formula. So you have to think of different ways to approach those 5, 10, 15 years. What is successful IT? You're being told you must deliver successful IT. What's the definition of successful IT? The definition now is the understanding that every organization, no matter how successful your organization is, has a limited resource in the IT budget. You have a limited number of people and talent. You have a limited amount of time, and you have a limited amount of money. Successful IT today means that you are going to find the best strategic allocation of your limited resources to achieve the success both at a strategic, financial, and operational level for your business and your government organization that drives growth and improves profit. That's your goal. That's what strategic IT operations and successful IT operations is today. It's not running the data center. It's not determining what point release you should be running for a particular product in ERP or which brand of a ERP product that you're using. It's all outcome focused. It almost doesn't matter as long as you're getting the job done. You need IT optimization. In order to achieve the right allocation inside the budget and constraints of IT, you have to decide what you're going to spend and how much focus you're going to give what part of the IT portfolio. If you make the wrong allocation, you won't achieve the goals. If you make the right allocation, you will surpass your competition. You need to invest in innovation because optimization will drive down cost. Driving down cost allows you to improve profitability. But you know the old expression, nobody ever cut their way to growth. Doesn't happen. Which means you have to both find ways to save money, to lower costs, but you also need to invest in innovation. You have to do both. If you're just cutting costs, you are not moving your business forward. So, allocating means we reduce cost in some areas, we improve outcomes, and we free up capital and talent to work in other areas that are more important to the business objectives. IT costs and growth rate. Many of you that I talk to, and true globally, you have to reduce the total cost of IT against the total revenue of the organization. You're being told that by your board. You need to reduce the percentage of our revenue focused on IT. But you also need to make sure that the growth of that budget does not exceed the growth of the revenue line. And I know several of you I've been talking to even this week, one of your challenges is your IT costs are growing faster than the revenue growth. That's not a formula that can work anymore. So you have to both cut costs and get your costs in alignment with the revenue growth of the organization. Transaction systems like ERP, which Gartner often refers to as systems of record. We're processing payroll, we're processing accounts receivable, general ledger transactions. The reality is, these generally are not strategic systems. It doesn't mean that some functionality couldn't give you some competitive edge. But in general, ERP and other transaction systems are not where value is created. Competitive advantage is not created in core back-end systems. Which means for most people, most organizations need to reduce the cost, the focus, and the talent spent on the core ERP systems in order to free up resources for other innovation and critical projects within the organization. There are many other steps to take to reduce the total cost and focus of ERP in your organization to focus on much more important projects that will determine growth and profitability in the future. Single ERP platforms. Many of you, like me, grew up in a world where we always thought that if we live in a company, an organization that acquires other organizations or has big global operations, that everyone should use the same platform. Maybe even come together on a single instance. That's changing. A lot of your colleagues are rethinking that strategy because the cost of bringing everything together into a single instance for different business units that have different business requirements not only is very costly and takes up so much of the IT department's focus, but the reality is it makes the single platform so complicated with customizations to handle the unique needs of every business unit that some of your colleagues and some in this room are even going the other direction, moving to separate from single instances to individual instances at the business, different products, Maybe I'm going to use Microsoft Dynamics at an individual enterprise level because all I really want to do is bring together financial data. Maybe I want to bring together other operational data, but I'll bring it together in a data lake. And I'll use special reporting and analytics tools to get all the data I need without switching everybody to the same platform or a single instance. It has big implications for a lot of IT cost and focus and personnel. ERP is becoming more and more of a mission-critical utility. A utility that has to run. It has to work well. But at the end of the day, it's not where IT should spend its time. And more, we're seeing customers outsource the entire ERP operation from end to end. In fact, Rimini Street has over 100 customers already that have moved to Rimini Street to run their systems as well as support them. And the value of doing that kind of outsourcing end to end is that your team gets to focus on much more important technology and innovation. And we see it stabilizing workforces because it's really hard to get staff that want to run ERP. They want to go do more exciting things. And we've had customers who have seen big benefits of their staff excited to work on key projects for the company. IT vendors. IT departments are generally smaller today than they were years ago. It's very hard to work with 100 or more IT vendors. And so we're seeing companies undertake efforts to reduce the number of IT vendors and have those vendors play a more strategic role as real partners so that they don't have to manage 100 different relationships, which takes up more of the IT management time than it should. Giving IT management a better platform to work with partners than they've had in the past. And that has yielded the ability also to get better cost management because less partners mean they can get better pricing.